All right, so one last thing before we get into searching for these suppliers, which I'm sure you guys are excited to get into. Let's talk about the suppliers who you will run into so you know what you can expect from that kind of business. All right, so let's get into it. Supplier number one that you're going to run into is a manufacturer. So the manufacturers are the ones that are creating these products. They create a whole line of brands, they create a whole line of products. Sometimes they're manufacturers that are bigger, and sometimes there's manufacturers that are smaller. We're going to want to work with manufacturers that are medium to smaller size, because if we go to big manufacturers, it's not going to be as beneficial for us to work with them. And I'm going to explain why in the next one. But what you need to know about a manufacturer is that they're the ones manufacturing their products, their brands. So they're the ones that are going to sell only their product line. Now, the next one is a distributor. And an easy way to remember what a distributor does is they act as a bridge. So they act as a bridge between the manufacturers and the retailers, which you are now a retailer if you're doing this business. So we go to distributors for these bigger brands, these bigger name brand products that we are excited to sell because they sell very well, right? And you may be asking yourself, well, why don't we just go directly to a large manufacturer and buy from them? Well, the reason is because a distributor has a lot more money than you. So with that large amount of money, they can go to the manufacturer that you want to buy from and buy $100,000 worth of inventory, $1,000,000 worth of inventory, and get the price at a much more discounted price than you could ever get. So because they have it at a such discounted price, they can sell it to you for a lot less than the manufacturer would. Smaller to medium-sized manufacturers are great to go work directly with. Larger manufacturers, not so much. So if you want to sell the bigger brands, you're going to want to stick to distributors. All right, so the next one is a closeout. So closeouts may be a little confusing, and there are suppliers that are dedicated only to being a closeout. So they deal with shelf pulls, they deal with discontinued products, they deal with the last remaining inventory of a certain product on the market, okay? And that's all they deal with. These sort of suppliers do have larger margins, but they aren't necessarily authorized to sell some of these brands. Just grabbing everything that they can get their hands on and then reselling it. Doesn't mean they're a bad supplier, just know that that is what they're doing. And if a closeout is selling returned or damaged products like that, you don't want to deal with that kind of supplier. Now, there are other authorized suppliers that deal with closeouts on the side, which just means that they may have the opportunity to buy the last remaining inventory on the market. So they will purchase all of it and sell it to us, right? So then we get the opportunity to buy the discontinued products or the last remainder of a certain product line, okay? That is what a closeout is. Now, a wholesaler, you can also remember a wholesaler as another bridge, but instead of being a bridge directly from the manufacturer and the retailer, they're more so of a bridge between distributors, manufacturers, and the retailer. Okay, so they will go to the suppliers that we're looking for, and then they will also resell it to us. The difference with a wholesaler is that they don't typically have their own sales team, and they don't typically have a shipping department. So they're going to ship everything out via normal mail carriers because they don't have such a big workforce like distributors or manufacturers do. All right, so the next one is a B2B2B, business to business to business. Now, it's similar to a wholesaler in certain ways, but the difference is that they don't hold any of their own inventory and they only cater to Amazon sellers, which might sound like a good thing, but it's really not. And we're going to get into why in a further lesson. But what you need to know about a B2B2B is that what they do is that they go to a distributor, for example. They open up a wholesale account with them, and then they get put on their email list. So that whenever that supplier sends an email out, this B2B2B has their own email list that they're going to send that exact same product to, but at a markup. So if they're getting the product for $10 from a distributor, they're going to tell you that they have it for $15 so they can make a profit. The problem with B2B2Bs is that they monitor the price on Amazon very closely. So if a product goes up in price, that means they're going to sell it for a lot more. So your margins will never be very good with B2B2Bs. Now the last one is a liquidator. Now I don't recommend you guys work with liquidators whatsoever because they deal with returns, they deal with damaged goods, they deal with lots, they deal with pallets, they deal with truckloads that you don't necessarily know what's in them. So they may have a manifest that they're going to sell you with a lot, but we don't know the condition, we don't know exactly what's in there, and we don't know how well that lot's going to do. And we just don't want to deal with liquidators, okay? We want to deal with new condition, legit authorized suppliers, okay? We don't want to deal with returns. We don't want to deal with lots. We don't want to deal with shelf pulls, okay? So liquidators, you need to understand what they are, but you do not need to work with them. All right, so now that you understand how all of these suppliers operate and you understand the importance of vetting all of them out, let's get into the supplier search.